Tommy Robinson's legal team has just issued a critical warning ahead of his appeal hearing this Friday, and what they're revealing casts a dark shadow over the way justice is being delivered in this country. It's not just about one man in a courtroom. According to those closest to the case, the latest development raises urgent and disturbing questions about how far the system is willing to go to silence those it sees as a threat. For weeks, the public has had little insight into what's really happening behind the prison walls, or what kind of legal games are being played in the background. Now, just days before Tommy steps back into court, his team has gone public with shocking new information. And if what they're saying is true, it points to something far more calculated, far more punitive, and far more political than anyone previously realized. Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Just a quick one to say we have new Liber t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to BritishStand.com. Tommy Robinson's legal team has issued a critical update ahead of his upcoming appeal hearing this Friday. According to a statement from his representatives, Tommy is fighting back against what they describe as a politically motivated persecution. And the latest developments in his case are raising serious questions about fairness and due process. His team has revealed that during this appeal, the counter-argument being presented is not just to uphold the punishment, but to argue that Tommy should have been kept in solitary confinement for 3 times longer than he already has been. This, despite the fact that his detention stems from a civil offense, not a criminal conviction. Tommy's team has been clear. This civil action was driven by the Labour Attorney General. And if it had been treated as a criminal matter, he would most likely have already been released, possibly as far back as 2 months ago. The reason? Labour's own policies have led to prison overcrowding and mass early releases for criminally convicted individuals. If Tommy had been processed as a criminal inmate under current guidelines, he'd likely no longer be behind bars. Instead, by using a civil route, the state has managed to keep him detained longer under harsher conditions, including extended periods in isolation. This isn't the first time his team has flagged what they say are dirty tactics. During a previous court appearance, Tommy raised concerns about being held in near total isolation, despite being classified as a Category D prisoner, a status that should afford him access to activities and a less restrictive environment. In response, and just before the court date, prison staff reportedly gave him one token activity, which the authorities then used in court to claim he was being treated appropriately. His legal team says this was a calculated move to mislead the court and undermine Tommy's legitimate concerns about mistreatment. They're warning that this pattern of behavior shows how the system is being manipulated not for justice, but for political gain. And they say this upcoming appeal is about far more than just Tommy's individual case. In a statement, his team said, "This is a test of whether our legal system will stand on the principles of fairness and equal treatment, or whether it will continue to be weaponized against voices that challenge the political establishment." They are urging supporters to remain engaged and vocal as Friday's appeal approaches, warning that the outcome could set dangerous precedent for how dissent is treated in the UK. Further updates will be provided by his team as developments unfold. In more news, taxpayers may have to give up more cash as Mauritius has demanded more money for the Chagos Islands in a desperate attempt to gain a better deal from the UK. Talks have reached their final stages after US President Donald Trump signed off on Britain giving away the islands. Parliament could see a final deal presented within weeks. Sources involved in the discussions revealed that Mauritius has requested higher lease payments for the Diego Garcia military base, along with additional development funding on top of the £9 billion previously agreed upon. There is also a continuing disagreement over how much of the lease payment will be made up front. The UK has stated it will not increase the overall spending on the deal beyond the terms agreed in October, but insiders have suggested that the payment schedule could be adjusted to front-load more funds to Mauritius sooner. British negotiators are understood to have proposed 3 new options in recent weeks to accelerate the payments, all of which could involve paying a larger portion of the 99 years' rent for Diego Garcia in advance. However, sources have said Mauritius has rejected 2 of the options and is waiting for a better deal and more money overall. A Mauritian insider source said, "We won't sign the deal without getting clarity on the amount of money front-loaded. We were provided 3 options for the payment of the financial package. We didn't even consider the first 2 options after consulting our legal experts. We are discussing the 3rd option. It is not yet known what the 3rd option being negotiated includes. The payment schedule has emerged as the primary point of contention between the 2 nations since the UK and the previous Mauritian government reached a draft deal last year. After taking office, Navin Ramgoolam, the new Prime Minister of Mauritius, reopened negotiations with the aim of accelerating the payments due to the significant public debt inherited from his predecessor. The UK has already agreed to advance some payments, with plans to provide Mauritius a lump sum shortly after the deal is finalised. Whitehall insiders have said the latest dispute started when Mauritius demanded more money overall, which crossed a red line for Britain. Some UK officials believe the island country is taking advantage of Britain's preference to sign a deal as soon as possible and eliminate legal risk to the operations on Diego Garcia. Despite concerns that the US president would block the deal, he eventually signed off on it after Sir Keir Starmer's visit to Washington earlier this year. According to The Telegraph, Jonathan Powell, the number 10 National Security Advisor, received final approval from his US counterpart, Michael Waltz. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office has not disclosed the total cost of the deal to British taxpayers, but reports suggest it is around £9 billion. Claims that the true cost could be closer to £18 billion have been dismissed by a minister as inaccurate. The deal will be presented to Parliament, revealing for the first time the cost of relinquishing control over the Chagos Islands. These islands have been a British overseas territory since Mauritius gained independence from the UK in 1967. Mauritius has long maintained that the islands were taken by Britain and has garnered some international court support for its sovereignty claims. Conservatives have continuously said the deal should be scrapped, with Shadow Foreign Secretary Dame Priti Patel describing it as one of the worst foreign policy failures in modern British history. She said, "Once again, the colossal scale of Keir Starmer and David Lammy's diplomatic failure is on stark display. From the get-go, we have been warning that surrendering sovereign British territory and asking taxpayers to fork over their hard-earned cash for the indignity of it is a total disaster, and yet Labour have pushed ahead." Calling Labour a weak and feeble government who cannot stand up for Britain, she added that there is no surprise they are now coming back for more. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.